There are very few names in history that stir up such strong and, well, divided reactions as Marie Antoinette. For more than 2 centuries, her name has been a real lightning rod for debate. To some, she's the ultimate symbol of extravagance, and to others, she's a deeply tragic figure. Today, we're going to try and unpack this enduring contradiction. And this really is the question at the very heart of her legacy, isn't it? Was she genuinely the villain of the French Revolution, just completely indifferent to the suffering of her people? Or was she more of a pawn in a much, much larger game, unfairly blamed for crises that she didn't even create? Let's dive into this. So, the story of Marie Antoinette, it's not one single narrative. It's really a collection of competing interpretations. And to even begin to understand her legacy, we have to look at both sides of the coin, starting with the one that's by far the most famous. Okay, so this is the version of Marie Antoinette that's been immortalized in popular culture. The out-of-touch monarch, living in absolute luxury while our country starved. It's a really powerful portrait, and it was built on some very specific accusations. This single sentence, it just perfectly captures the whole essence of the argument against her. It paints this picture of a monarch who wasn't just frivolous, but actually cruel in her negligence. This idea became a rallying cry for revolutionaries, and honestly, it's been echoing through history ever since. The accusation really boils down to 3 main points. First, her personal extravagance. We're talking lavish gowns, opulent parties, her private retreat, the Petit Trianon. All of this was seen as a direct insult to a population that was really struggling. Second, all that spending created this perception of a profound indifference to the widespread poverty. And finally, she became the living symbol of a monarchy that had completely, utterly lost touch with its people. It's a compelling narrative, for sure. But as with so much of history, you have to ask yourself, is there more to the story? Is this accusation, no matter how powerful it is, the complete truth? Okay, now let's flip the coin and look at the other side of the argument. In this version of the story, Marie Antoinette wasn't the cause of France's problems at all. Instead, she was a convenient scapegoat for issues that had been festering for decades. This perspective completely reframes her story. It suggests that focusing on her spending was really just a distraction from massive systemic failures. And it introduces a critical element, that the attacks against her were deeply personal and gendered, like in the infamous diamond necklace affair, where she was publicly dragged through the mud for a scandal she had absolutely nothing to do with. And here you can really see the powerful contrast between image and context. On one hand, you have the image, a queen who sent France into bankruptcy. But the context, well, it tells a very different story. France's economy was already crumbling under a deeply unfair tax system that put all the burden on the common people. Her spending, while, yeah, it was extravagant, was just a drop in the ocean compared to this systemic rot. This brings us to another key part of her defense, misogynistic slander. Think about it. As a foreign woman with immense influence, Marie Antoinette was a very easy target. Vicious pamphlets and cartoons relentlessly attacked her character, her loyalty, her fidelity. This propaganda wasn't just gossip, it was a political weapon, specifically designed to weaken the monarchy by destroying her reputation. So, what we have are 2 starkly different portraits, the decadent queen and the slandered victim. So where does this leave us? Well, the truth, as it so often does, likely lies somewhere in that complicated space right between these 2 extremes. Here, you can see the 2 arguments laid out side by side. One is based entirely on perception, how her actions were seen by a desperate populace. The other is based on context, framing her as a scapegoat for problems far, far beyond her control. The thing is, both contain elements of truth, and both have powerfully shaped her legacy. Ultimately, it might be impossible to label her as just one thing or the other. She was a flawed person, of course, but she was also someone trapped in the most extraordinary of circumstances. Her story is a really powerful reminder that history is rarely a simple case of clear-cut heroes and villains. And this leaves us with a final, really interesting question to think about. How do we shape the image of historical figures? The story of Marie Antoinette forces us to consider how these narratives are built in the first place. Who gets to tell the story, what gets emphasized, and what gets left out. It's a powerful reminder to always question the histories that we inherit. Thank you so much for joining this exploration. If you found it valuable, please subscribe for more explainers that dive into these kinds of complex histories. We hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.